Okay, so let's start on this 5-6 chord here because our one chord is already done. So I'm gonna go here, and I gotta make this second note. Okay, so what note do I need? I have an F and a D. To make that 5 chord, the notes are D, F, and A. So I need an A. So let's put that in the alto because that's going to be nice voice leading from here. Okay. And then let's think line by line just for a minute here. What could go here? Underneath this 5-4-3 chord, this could step down to an F to fill out this 5-4-3, right? Because D, F, A, C. So now I've got the F there. That leaves, so all my notes of the 5-6 are now covered. F, A, D. So now I need to double something. So let's try doubling the D, because look at that voice leading. Just stays right on the same note. No problem there. In fact, how long can we stay on the same note? Oops. Oh, I screwed up my voices. So can I stay on a D one more time? Does that fill out this chord? Now remember, this chord is a 7th chord, so it has 4 different notes. So I got to be careful here. So I have, let's count up from D. D, F sharp, A, C. Perfect. Okay, now what happened here? What I have here is a passing tone in the bass and everything else sustained. So when I said, yes, you have to change, or you should have a chord for every beat, for every quarter note, sometimes the melody just implies that you don't need one. And we technically do here. We're adding a note. It's a passing tone. We're not going to try to figure out some goofy chord out of it. We're just going to call it a nice passing tone. Keeps the motion going. And I'm pretty happy with it. So let's just hear what we've got so far before we do this last measure. Right? This one, it doesn't feel like it needs anything else here. We could change these notes and come up with another chord, but why bother? That sounds nice. And plus, this is what Bach did. I'm kind of re-putting together Bach's harmonization here. So if you want to put a chord here, it's A-okay. You can do that if you want. That's totally fine. Okay, let's look at this 1-6. So what am I missing here? I have a B and a G. I have 2 B's. So I need a G and a D. Let's look at our voice leading. Wouldn't it be great if this one just stayed on a D? It sure would. So let's do exactly that. D there. And then up here, let's see if we can get this one up to a G because he's on an F sharp. Oops. So F sharp up to G, so that chordal third resolved. Our 7th resolved down to a B, so that resolved correctly. And I'm going to do this as a half note right here because A, that's what Bach did, and it fills out that measure really nice. G to F, right? So we're just going to let this sustain into that A, and that's going to make my 2 chord a little different, isn't it? Because what is my 2 chord? We're in the key of G, so A, C, E. What if we went up one more and added a 7th onto it? That would be G. So right here, we added, by letting this sustain, we technically added a seventh to this 2, right? We just saw that. We just saw cases where that happens. And in that case, we got to change our inversion again because now it's a 2, 6, 5. Because it has a seventh in it. This G is going to sustain right into it. It's going to sound sweet. Trust me. We got one more note to fill out here. What note do we need? On a 2 chord, we have C. What is our 2 chord? It is A. So we have A, C, we're missing E. And then we have the G of the 7th. So will this easily go to an E? It sure will. Let's just step that right on up to an E. All right. Now, we've hit our cadence. And this, that's pretty nice. Actually, that is more of what I want, but we'll approach that and we'll deal with that in just a second. This is less nice. That's a big gap. So what can I do to avoid that gap? This is a 5 chord, so I have D, F, So I have D, F, A, and A. So that A is doubled, right? Because this is sustaining into here. So I could maybe not do this. What if I did that? That's nicer. But now I've got a bit, not a big leap from D to A, or B, of a third. Here's what Bach did. He kind of cheated here a little bit. Bach did that when he harmonized this. So to make nicer voice leading, he went D, C, B. So he snuck a third in there on the or a seventh in there on the last 8th note and let it resolve right back down. Pretty cool, right? So what we would do here, if we wanted to like get our inversions just right, we would go like this. We would say this is a 5, and I want to show that the 7 happens right here. So what I would do is I would go like this. That means 5 root position because of an 8 that resolves, that's that, and that resolves down to a 7, which is that. So it's saying 5, 8 goes down to a 7, and then we resolve to 1. So there you go. That's how Bach harmonized this. Let's hear it. Nice, right? Gorgeous. Okay. Once you do this a bunch of times, you'll start to kind of internalize this and not make it so complicated. I feel like what we just walked through was felt more complicated than it needs to be. So let's do another one. And let's do another one and let's try to simplify it a little bit.